Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Decker Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And, sadly, no, the package wasn't lost in shipping. And it has arrived, and I have watched it. Of course, I'm talking about The Foreigner, a 2003 Seagal film that somehow someone down the line felt needed a sequel, which we got with Black Dawn. But don't worry about the story already being spoiled for you, because as it turns out, The Foreigner has absolutely no connection to Black Dawn whatsoever! Except for Seagal playing Jonathan Cold. Maybe. Cold was a secret double-triple agent in Black Dawn. In The Foreigner, he's closer to a freelance guy who just so happens to be the best in the world at getting the job done. Hell, even the term foreigner means something completely different in this movie. So any of you out there afraid that this one might fill those plot holes in the sequel, don't worry, it doesn't even come close. Anyway, as it is still the summer of Steven Seagal! And I will not let it defeat me. Bring it on. The film opens in Poland to a secret meeting between who we can assume are the important players in the story so far, Jared Oliphant, played by Gary Raymond, and Philip Dunbar as Alexander Marquis. Both of which required a Google image search to make sure I got it right. They're very important characters to the overall plot, but for some reason, in the credits and on IMDb, they're barely credited higher than Kid with No Lines and Rolls-Royce Driver. Evidently, they've caught a courier, but he lacks the package, so naturally the plan is to beat the information out of him. This introduces us to Dunois, played by Max Ryan, who is by far the most entertaining character in the whole movie. His role, as far as the plot goes, is simply paid thug, but hey, at least he looks like he's enjoying himself. Back to the story, Jared starts working on the man's psyche.
Promise you, whoever you're protecting is sitting in a warm room somewhere without the slightest concern for your well-being.
Oh shit, he's protecting me? He gives him 10 seconds to say where it was delivered, or else he kills him. Hey, wait a minute, isn't it obvious you're going to kill him anyway? Isn't the point of torturing someone for information to keep them alive, so even though they know you're going to kill them, by the end they are just so willing to end the suffering that they'll just do anything that you get your information that way? How is this technique supposed to work?
Two.
Dangerous!
What?
The truth!
Because the plot says so. Now that they know where it is and could just go in guns blazing and get it, they decide it's best to hire someone completely unrelated to this matter to pull it off. Which brings us to Seagal, enjoying his normal pastime of oogling women young enough to be his grandchild. After we zoom in so close we can literally see what Seagal is thinking, we find out, hey, they didn't have to hire someone completely unrelated after all, as it turns out that Seagal was in Alex's pocket the whole time.
It's a small favor. I want you to pick up a package and deliver it to Germany.
Well, I guess his previous jobs aren't that important. I mean, would you really want to spend 20 minutes watching Seagal collect and deliver 10 giant rat tails? Seagal doesn't want to work for some unknown reason, but agrees to because, well, this movie just wouldn't work if he sat back and did nothing. Actually, wait. Maybe it would. Because all of Europe is maybe the size of New York City, they reach the farmhouse where it is being kept after a short drive. Despite being one of Alex's alleged safe houses, Seagal still approaches it like he's expecting ninja assassins at any moment.
Get your gun out and hide it. Take the left side. Don't say a word.
Which means they are more than prepared to fight off the onslaught of...
Bonjour.
Granny! Well, that's not very intimidating. Zombie Granny? They meet the two Russian couriers who evidently were not captured, but there is still a problem.
Their tongues are cut out.
I'm sure you would like to know exactly why, or even when this occurred. That's not important in the slightest. Instead of answers, we get more questions, as a random group of armed men ambush Seagal and Max. While this means we will never know who the Russians were, why they were transporting the package, who the hell the other courier was, or why these guys' tongues were cut out, it does finally answer where the hell that completely out-of-place action scene flashback came from in the sequel. Of course, in that scene they used it to describe him killing 6 agents and vanishing. Here, those weren't agents, and he didn't vanish. Brilliant. He and Max dump the now-dead driver out and flee with the package, leaving zombie Granny safe and sound with all her worldly possessions burning to the ground.
Let's see what they were willing to die over.
You don't want to do that.
What? Please let him open the package. I mean, we're only 12 minutes in, but that's plenty long enough for a Seagal movie. Come on.
I said you don't want to do that. And if you touch it again, I will blow your 2-inch dick off.
Damn it, Seagal! You know, just for that.
I would blow your 2-inch dick. I would blow your 2-inch dick. I would blow your 2-inch dick. I would blow your 2-inch dick.
Seagal decides not to go right to Germany, but instead head back to Alex for some reason, and then... The fuck was that supposed to be? Unimportant seizure flashback out of the way, Seagal tells Alex that he isn't interested in delivering the package. Like, he's not involved at this point. And they explain to him about the ambush and one more thing.
Then I think we're all agreed that this was unexpected.
I think the only thing that's unexpected is that I'm still alive.
So he hired guns to kill you and retrieve the package that he hired you to get and retrieve. What? Wait, no, somehow he means that Alex is being played as a scapegoat by a man in the background who hired Alex to hire Seagal to get the package, who also hired other people to get the package from the other people hired to get the package. That's it, right? I mean, I can handle complicated plots usually, but it helps if the underlying motives make sense. Furthermore, Seagal pins the blame on someone very close to him. So the man hired with him to retrieve the package hired other men to come and kill him and retrieve the package. Back in Poland, instead of Germany, Jared meets up with Seagal to show him pictures from other movies he's worked on, before berating him about not following his father's footsteps as an agent, while miscellaneous third guy comes in to watch the movie?
You are an asshole.
I beg your pardon.
Let him go.
Wait, was that an action scene or a transition? No clue, but they hold the funeral for Jackson cold, trying to be poetic and emotional about a character we've never heard about or saw, or even got a picture of. But hey, at least Seagal's got a brother in this movie, Sean Cold, played by Jeffrey Pierce, who you may know as Tommy from The Last of Us.
I have to ready Dad's office for transition. Dad had a lot of friends here, people that he,
Made promises to that you gotta keep.
And speaking of keeping promises, don't you have some package thing over in Germany? People trying to kill you over it? This scene really is to just establish that they are brothers and trust each other, so obviously there will be betrayal somewhere in Act 3. But just because they're brothers doesn't mean he gets to sleep there, as we instead cut to a random hotel with a creepy van out front. I could use one of those. I could easily fit all my recording equipment, maybe even some spare computers for editing on the road. I could do some better crossovers this way. Hey, Seagal, what would you fill a van with?
Schoolgirls.
Moving on, Alex sends some guys to pick up Max, so... he murders them in broad daylight in a crowded diner. Oh, don't worry, the gun was silenced. He then goes right back to Alex's mansion anyway, sneaking in easily enough as nobody can smell his cigarette somehow, and he easily murders the maid.
Bon appetit, mademoiselle.
So, did he think she was a threat, or, no, he probably didn't want anyone alerted of his presence? Except for the fact that he walks right up to Alex's guards, handing over his various weapons, and sits down to have a chat with the man, strangely not bothering to bring up the fact that he'll probably need to hire more housekeepers. Alex tells him that he has another errand for him to run, but has a question before he leaves.
How did you know I wanted to see you?
You did send those two guys to bring him in earlier. Of course, he did that. Is there any reason that you're going around killing all these people? I mean, I'm having more than a little difficulty putting together this plot. That's precisely what Seagal's trying to do, as he figures that maybe learning something about who he's supposed to be delivering the package to might shed some light on things. Strangely enough, his brother is the expert on the man.
Yeah, he buys little contracts, builds them up,
And then sells them for the kind of money that you read about to avoid the headaches of running them.
Oh, he's a slumlord! Enough of that. Max has made it to Germany, and as such, easily steals a car from a man who doesn't think to run despite having plenty of time to do so.
Bon voyage, mate.
Your one-liners are somewhat less badass when you say them after deftly taking out an unarmed civilian. He zips by the eye and bang, it's back to Warsaw, where we see Jared tapped into Seagal's phone calls and is questioning his motives.
Why the hell is he asking about Meredith?
Guy does his research.
What? He's Seagal. He doesn't need to do research. In fact, I'm wondering why he's even bothering to do an investigation at all. Just let him do whatever the fuck he's going to do with that package and it's automatically right. This also introduces us to Mr. Mims, played by Sherman Augustus, who happens to be another one of those professional mercs hired by Jared to look into tracking down the package to deliver it to wherever the hell. Well, you know what they say. If you want something done right, hire 20 people to kill each other trying to do it. Seagal, however, continues doing whatever the fuck he does, passing a message on to the Van Aken residence, instead of the package he was supposed to be delivering there. You know what? Don't hire Seagal if you want something done right. He's fucked around with and procrastinated on delivering that package for so long in this movie already, I'm starting to wonder just how shitty of a job he did with the 10 rat tails. He also sticks around to photograph Mrs. Van Aken on her way in, or her kid. Actually, just her kid. A lot. Ew. While he's... Ugh. He gets a call from Mrs. Van Aken, who is willing to meet him to pick up the package he didn't just leave on the doorstep for some unexplained reason. He agrees, but of course still finds a way to fuck around with it.
Is that it? Thank you, Mr. Weber.
He sent another man to deliver it, which he successfully did, unscathed. I guess Seagal just didn't want to risk getting shot. Like it would even matter to him. Even better, the package was a fake, so Seagal is jumped at home by a complete stranger. Seriously, even in the credits his character is called The Stranger, though actually in the movie they refer to him as Richard, who happens to be played by Diobia Opere, who you may recognize from Alien 3, the Doom movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, Moulin Rouge. Shit, this actor is the biggest star in the whole fucking movie!
You want to tell me where the real package is?
He chokes Seagal, which is really very entertaining for me to watch at this point, but unfortunately the delivery of his lines is wasted on incredibly bland writing.
Asphyxiation is the process by which air is shut off to the lungs,
No shit.
thereby cutting off oxygen to the brain. And when the brain dies, Mr. Weber, well then, what's the point?
Choking a man to death is anything but esoteric. What the fuck are you doing? A scientific analysis video?
1 fucking minute!
It's not here, but I've got
45 fucking seconds, yeah?
Damn, that was a fast 15 seconds. Seagal breaks down and tells him, so they head down to the locker he claims it is in, keeping the fact that this is a hostage situation as overt as possible.
Move your fucking around!
The hell was that? He gets the package from the locker, then it's off to the bathroom, where he can critique Seagal's urination technique.
Easy. Easy.
Best actor in the movie, and this is what the fuck they have him doing? Impatient as hell on top of it, as he decides to just rip the package open himself. Of course, it's the fake package, so it blows up, easily burning off Seagal's dick as somehow the tiny bomb was enough to cause every single room in this building to explode, killing all of the innocent people inside it. I mean, unless Sonic the Hedgehog there ran them down to an abandoned building first, for no apparent reason. As he survived this too, of course the first thing he does is call Mrs. Van Aken to inform her that he's not dead and Sonic is, and Seagal thinks that he was her boyfriend for some reason.
I've called you to inform you that sending someone to kill me was your first and last mistake.
Mr. Weber?
No, this doesn't lead anywhere meaningful. Of course. Instead, we go back to Mr. Mims, checking out a hotel under a slightly different name.
And would you prefer 2 single beds or 1 double, Mr.
Cold.
One double should be plenty, dear.
Oh, yeah, Seagal is still playing cold. Weber is another name he picked up just to make sure all the other scenes remain even more confusing. Max shows up looking for Seagal, though, and despite the fact that there's no reason he should be able to track Jonathan Cold's name written on a ledger, that doesn't matter. Do people normally do this when they're staking out a place trying to murder somebody? He misses the call, but don't worry, Max just kills the receptionist instead. What? Where's the witty remark? If you'd like to make a call, love, please hang up and try again. His confrontation with Mims doesn't go as well, as when dealing with armed people who actually fight back, he honestly kinda sucks. So the man who was hired to get the package from the man who was hired to get the package was killed by the man who was hired to get the package from the same man who hired the man who hired man package. While Mims is taking a nap, Seagal heads back to the Van Aken residence and proceeds to murder all the guards. Seriously, he kills 5 men for no apparent reason, and all just to have a chat with Mrs. Van Aken, played by Anna Louise Plowman.
But I was hired to deliver the package to your husband, not you. So that's the way it's gonna have to be.
Then you are a man of principle.
He just killed 5 of your men! They're lying out on the lawn right now! You might want to put a help wanted sign up while you're at it. As an example of his astonishing principle, we switch to Mims looking for the car Seagal was driving, which he finds, but with the wrong driver.
You're not my guy, are you?
So far Seagal has killed over half a dozen people, easily from both good guys and bad guys, whatever the hell those are in this movie, and has led to the deaths of several innocent civilians. Truly a man of great principle. Before long, we're back where Mims killed Max, but the police are very confused by the scene.
All of the evidence is here, except no body.
Well, it could have been dumped in the river or something.
Sir, a Kevlar flak jacket. Government issue.
Or that. I mean, of course he was wearing a flak jacket. Why wouldn't he be wearing a flak jacket? Wait a minute. What the fuck did he do? Take his shirt off, take the flak jacket off, throw the flak jacket on the ground, put his shirt back on, and then run off? Constantly switching back and forth, we find Seagal showing he's a man of principle by opening the package anyway! It's a series of news clippings about a plane crash, and truth be told, these are actual photos of a real crash where real people really died, so way to stay classy, movie. But there's also the flight recorders of the movie's fake plane, too. That was random. And just as random, Max happens to have a stash of weapons and medical supplies nearby, including the all-important cigarettes. Character trait or not, having him smoking every minute of every day is starting to look kind of silly. Like they give a shit. Then we're back at wherever the fuck, where Jared meets Sean to hire him to deceive his own brother he hired to get the package, who is causing problems with the other 12 people he hired to get the package. Okay, you want the truth? Nothing fucking matters! So much shit happens in this movie and it just goes nowhere! We're only about halfway through and I'm fucking sick of it! So, brace yourself! We're gonna take the speed run through the rest of this movie! Seagal calls Sean because there's more packages and miscellaneous characters to introduce I don't give a fuck about. Sean convinces him to come back for no specified reason, and he agrees to! He also tells Van Aken to meet him in a miscellaneous abandoned building, which she is happy to. But before that can happen, Mr. Mims teleports to Seagal to capture and or kill him, depending on what Jared hired him to do. Either way, it goes against what Jared just hired Sean to do, but Seagal tells Mims that he'll pay him way better than Jared can if he lets him go, which of course he agrees to, following Seagal to the abandoned building, leading to some slap fighting, and Seagal paying him off.
Love a barbecue.
Yeah, he somehow knew Mims was gonna come by right then, all along, and he would have to kill him with a CD, so it's a good thing that he rigged one to explode all those scenes ago. Makes perfect sense! Not to let the movie get any less confusing, Max shows up out of nowhere, as well as Van Aken, so he escapes with her in the package that was clearly out in the open, narrowly escaping before Jared's other goons show up to set the place to blow for no apparent reason. I mean, except for Seagal and Max being there, who he is also paying. Don't expect it to make any more sense anytime soon. But you want to know what was in the package? The proof that an old friend of Mrs. Van Aken was shot down with a missile because he was going to blow the whistle on the biochemical weapon manufacturing taking place illegally in false fertilizer plants all over Europe. An operation that Jared was evidently leading, along with her husband, Jerome Van Aken. Why he would send it to her instead of the BBC, I don't know, but there you go. Max runs away from a huge explosion while Van Aken thinks about her daughter. Seagal teleports to Poland to meet his brother and is followed by 3 goons for about 2 seconds as they instantly lose track of them. Seagal explains that in this movie, a foreigner means a covert operative who's no longer kept on record, which makes it hard to understand how they keep track of who is and who isn't considered a foreigner. And Sean gives Seagal Jared's location. After this revelation...
Jared, aren't you a little old for this cloak and dagger shit?
He went to Jared. He went to Jared.
They talk for a few seconds, teaching us nothing, and then... And to your right, you'll notice an old man who's been shot and left to die. Oh, how lovely. So, quick question. Who is paying you now? You killed all your bosses. Teleporting back to Germany, Seagal decides to kill Van Aken's guards again now that they've respawned, but Max happens to be there as well. They decide to group for no apparent reason, managing to kill off 11 people, but then...
Bon fucking swami, sir.
So Seagal gave you a gun with no bullets. Why not just use any of the other 5 guns you carry around with you at all times? Seagal shoots him once in the chest, which obviously won't kill him, and then has a chat with Jerome Van Aken, played by Harry von Gorkum. They talk about the usual bullshit plot twists as he tries to convince Seagal that Meredith Van Aken is the real culprit, as the man who died in the crash was their top engineer at the weapons plants. The man offers to pay Seagal to bring his daughter back, and their conversation goes nowhere. Max walks in right after, showing us that he was being paid by Jerome as well. Also... Okay. Who's paying you now? Every fucking buddy is dead! The only one left who could buy your services is Seagal! But Seagal's too busy saving Meredith's ass from a group of random thugs from some fucking buddy, narrowly escaping with their lives, but burning the building to the ground along with the package. Which really only serves to remind us of exactly how stupid Seagal is for having the time to fly to country after country and making 20 or so false packages, yet he never bothered to Xerox the contents of the one he opened. So they're in hiding in Paris, and for some reason think the best way to hide is to walk out in the open. Strangely enough, this isn't working, but since they never left Seagal's sight, he decides to leave them in a restaurant for a few hours and is somehow shocked to find out they're gone.
Meredith?
It's much more interesting when it makes some fucking version of logical sense. So they fight for about 12 seconds before Seagal barely taps him, and evidently this kills the man. Then it's time for our whatever ending, as Meredith thanks Seagal for securing her daughter, and that's pretty much it. So who hired all of these other guys? Was the engineer a good guy after all? Why the fuck would you hire over a dozen people to all do the same job and kill each other over doing it? I don't fucking know! The movie is simply a mess. It's an espionage plot that has no answer to the all-important question, what the fuck is going on? Let's start from the top. The acting, all around, was bland. Very rarely did any character show emotion, so thankfully Seagal's performance in that department didn't look too out of place, but that's still not necessarily a good thing. Max Ryan was easily my favorite actor in the film, as his performance was at least entertaining, even if his character's motivations were either unknown or insane. The action, though, was very underwhelming. Having a high body count isn't enough in an action movie. We in the audience are picky sociopaths and want to see people die in interesting ways. Instead, we get a shit ton of miscellaneous guards being gunned down, a couple of buildings blowing up, and very few actual fights, and the fights are anything but impressive. So with bland acting and forgettable action, it all comes down to the plot and story, which is unquestioningly the worst part of the movie. I think the ending is supposed to leave it open to interpretation, except the problem is there's nothing to interpret. Every mercenary was hired by the same trio of bad guys, and said trio was completely killed off. That leaves us with people continuing to murder each other over a package that's already been opened and nobody is getting paid for. Motivation, people! Motivation! When you first start watching this movie, it honestly doesn't seem like it'll be all that bad. The budget looks decent and the question's intriguing, but as it goes on and on, you start to realize just how fucked the plot structure really is and how pointless the actions are. It's a chore to finish the whole 90 minutes, as it bores the audience to death with one random eye billboard out of 5. What? You thought I was going to give it a 2? It's kind of hard for what few entertaining aspects it does have to boost it up, when honestly I wanted nothing more than to just turn the movie off after 40 minutes. Thank you all for watching. I've been Dr. Shado, and remember, if you kill your boss, you don't have to come to work the next day.
When the sun don't shine, dark clouds fall on this life of mine. Worries of this world tearing on my mind. I need someone to save me, save me from myself. Save me, Lord, you know I need some help. Save me, set me free. I need someone to save me.
Easy. Easy.